being vulnerable. None of us want to be vulnerable. I don't know what it is about our society that wants us to portray the image like everything is good, everything is great. Look at my social media. See, I got smiles. I got all these great, amazing things going on. When deep down, we're all kind of hurting. When deep down, every last person has something that hurts. That when they really think about it deep down inside, they just want to break down and cry. So what do? They don't want to think about it. They just push it to the side. They stuff it down. Go have a drink, go have a smoke, hang out with friends, look at other social media, look at other people's great smiles and stuff. And we just avoid it. We don't want to be vulnerable, especially with another person. That would show weakness. And none of us want to do that. We want to show happiness and joy and portray that and attract the good kind of people and the good kind of attention. I'm going to say that's a bunch of junk. I was shocked at the number of people on that one video that I shared with the childhood trauma and how it affects you. A lot of people couldn't believe, like, man, you're being like so vulnerable. You're willing to share like some things that hurt you and some things that have scarred you and that have affected you the way you grow up. And I'm like, yeah, it hurts. I'm still recovering. I'm still getting better. That's okay. And just people just had trouble believing, like, how did you do that? And it's simple. Like, if you're struggling with something, admit you're struggling with something. I think the person that admits they're struggling with a scar or with a pain or a trauma from the past is much more ahead than the person that denies it. The person that's just stuffing it down and pretending like it doesn't hurt, pretending like it doesn't bother you. That's an act. Stop that. Because you can only stuff it down for so long before it gets the best of you. Especially with men. Men have been taught that you have to be strong, you can't cry, you have to know the answers to everything, and you have to be able to figure everything out. But there's also a reason why men have a much higher suicide rate than women. And I don't know the answer for sure, but I know that men always having to fight everything all alone, all by themselves, cannot be vulnerable. That might have something to do with it. Women, it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to cry. It's okay to share how they're feeling. And so I'm going to go and say, I'm going to go against the grain. Like, yeah, it's all right for a man to cry. It's all right for a man to say, this is too much, man. I'm struggling. It's okay because everybody's struggling. So why act like it's not an issue? Why act like it's not all right to do that? Everyone's hurting. So you know what? Admit to it. Now, here's the thing. I don't want you to just go admit to a random person that something's really bothering you or something that's really hurting you. You need to have a person that you trust, a person you love, and you know that they love you. Now, for everybody, that could be different. That could be a partner. That could be your father. That could be a close friend. It all depends on where you come from. You know who to trust and who you shouldn't. And I think you'll be surprised and amazed that when you share these close things of hurt and pain and things that you're struggling with, you're going to get a lot of empathy. You're going to get a lot of people saying, dang, man, like, I never knew. Like, you played it off so well. Like, I never would have guessed. And look, guys, our society is obsessed with pretending like you're a bad person if you're hurting, or you can't acknowledge that. You can't admit you have pain. I mean, how many times have you seen a couple and they're over here smiling, looking great at parties and shindigs? Well, prior to COVID, you know, everybody used to look great. And then you find out like a few months later, like, oh, they're not together anymore. It didn't work out. It's not difficult to pretend like things are great. It's not difficult to put a smile on your face, put a picture on social media and do all that. It's easy to do that. It takes real guts. It takes strength to be vulnerable with other people and admit that you're hurting. Because the fact is, we're all hurting. I don't ever want you to think you're alone and you're the only person struggling and falling for the fake smiles and all that other stuff. They're hurting too. They're just trying to cover it up. I used to struggle with this a lot. And I used to ask myself, why am I the only one that doesn't have this figured out? Why am I the only one that feels guilty and wrong and dirty inside? You're not. We all struggle with it. And that's why I believe you need to be vulnerable with someone you love and trust, and that can help you and support you and help you get through it. You can accomplish anything you want as long as you want to sacrifice, put in the work. I believe in you. Go get them.